Welcome everyone to the Be Well community. I usually say we're at Burrell Behavioral Health. Today I am not at Burrell Behavioral Health. I'm in my camper as we excitedly await Dana Hanson's amazing presentation on all things healing in nature. We'll just leave it at that, and then I'll let Dana do all the chatting as she is an expert. So today we're going to do a few things differently. What we're going to do is do our regular rate the weight, and then instead of doing a focused mindfulness activity, we are just going to enjoy all of the experiences that Dana brings to life in her conversation with us about healing in nature as our meditation practice of today. Likely going to find, if you're anything like me, is that you are going to take what you learn in Dana's presentation and you're going to want to get to nature as soon as possible to do your own new experiences of meditation and mindfulness in nature, as I hear some beautiful birds chirping outside. I don't even know that I noticed those before your chat here earlier, Dana. So welcome everyone to the Be Well community. Before we get started here, we welcome any and all comments in. If you're with us on Facebook, you can drop comments in, and we have a whole team of people that are checking our comments. Our hope is to engage with you as much as possible. That's the whole entire purpose of coming together daily in the Be Well, is that we take care of ourselves and have an opportunity to connect. It's pretty amazing that we can do this every single day. So let your voices be heard, folks. Questions that you might have for Dana that come up, thoughts that you have, locations that you might be thinking of your favorite nature spots. If you're with us on Zoom, please feel free to do the same. All right, let's start with our rate the weight. I think what we'll do today is do it without our image. And I can talk us through that. So if you're new to the Be Well community, what we do is a subjective units of distress that we call rate the weight. And so if you are at a 0, that means that you are calm, you're relaxed. If you are at a 5, that means that your system is overwhelmed and you're not functioning. You are having a very hard time functioning. And so then you can kind of tell if you're at a 1, your angst or frustration, anxiety is a bit higher. 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 is you're not functioning because you're so overwhelmed. 0 is that you are calm and at peace. So just think through that. Let's breathe here for a minute, check in with our brains and bodies as we need to be doing several times a day for health and wellness, and then drop your rating into the comment or in the chat on Zoom. And because I'm excited, I'm going to move us along. Please, at whatever point in time that you're watching this video, feel free to enter your rating. The important part is that we, for one, that we're checking in with ourselves, and 2, that we have a space that we feel is able to welcome our voices to express. So enter your rating. And because I'm excited, I'm going to welcome Dana Hanson into the conversation. Hey, Dana.
Hello, how are you?
Well, I'm excited and eager to hear from you again. And before we hear all things about healing in nature, share with us who you are in the world, Dana.
I'm Dana Hanson. I'm the school-based evaluator for Stone and Taney counties, so the Branson area. I have been evaluator for about 9 months with Burrell, and I absolutely love my job. So.
And before you came to Burrell, where were you in the world?
I had various positions. I lived in Colorado, and I worked in Colorado for a little bit. And then before I moved over to Burrell, I was at Whiteman Air Force Base working with our transitioning military service personnel. So it was a neat experience, and coming to Burrell has been amazing. So
you're a neat human. And before we get started, and in case we run out, because I know how I am, I just want to again express gratitude for you being willing to share your gifts and talents with us in ways at Burrell, as well as joining us in the Be Well community to bring the healing of nature to. I think the birds can hear you. I think the birds sensed you earlier. It truly is amazing just to hear you enter lived experience and the science behind the healing properties of nature. So I'm going to be quiet and step out of the way so we can hear from you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to be a part of the community today. I will tell you that um, there's so much to be said about being in nature. Obviously, you know, I was not one to want to spend a lot of time in nature in my previous part of life because I did not like bugs. And after I got to experience nature, I realized how amazing it was, just from my own personal views. And so I began researching it for my doctorate, about the effects of nature. And a lot of the research that I learned was from biophilia in nature therapy, about how connecting in nature through flora, fauna, forest, rivers, lakes, mountains, rocks, and even green spaces. Because a lot of our communities are cities. A lot of people can't go to a river or a stream easily. So just having that green space, but connecting with nature and stepping away from the influences of life, meaning our social media, news, you know, our work, constantly checking emails, and being able to truly pay attention to life. And that's being present. So being in nature can also help in many ways. And there's different ways that people describe the practice of being in nature. Obviously, one of the first countries was Japan. They started a forest therapy program. It was amazing in the sense that now it's been in practice for about 32 years. It started in about 1984. And then with that, research has shown that being in nature and walking in nature and being in these present areas has helped their country. People are taking that time to step away from work. And so that was one of the practices I started implementing when I lived in Colorado, and then moving back to Missouri, was taking that time, 10 or 15 minutes during my workday, just to step away and be present in nature. One of my favorite quotes, and I won't read it for you because it takes a little bit of time, but just being able to show how connecting with nature allows you, and on all forms of just touching the dirt, feeling it, wading in the water, and just feeling your lungs helps us mentally, but also gives us power. We forget that, you know, nature is there for us and a part of it. Benefits of nature, obviously, there's a lot of research, a lot of case studies, and the benefits of it, being able to be mindful and enhance our health and well-being, our five senses. I'm going to go back to the five senses in a few minutes, but being able to breathe. I wish Dr. Shipley was here, because just breathing in nature at a pace, just being able to take it in, is so therapeutic. And so I was talking about the Japanese country, how they built 48 therapy trails that are still in use. And they researched these trails and how the connection was, that the human connection was a healing connection, and how it was just really thriving. The benefits of nature, obviously, mental fatigue, being in this restorative environment helps us, shows that, you know, even one of the things that I read when I was doing a study was a lot of doctors' offices have fish tanks, and fish tanks reduce blood pressure because you're focusing on that image. And a study that they did with some veterans was allowing them to put a screensaver on their computer of nature, and it helped with their positive thinking, because you're taking yourself, even just for a moment, like the picture that I have is from when I was on a canoe trip at the Buffalo River. And it takes me presently, like where I am right now, and puts me there at that moment. The feelings, the smells, the sights, the surroundings, and the strength of the river, but also my own strength to be able to navigate through that. So it really is strengthening us. And, you know, humans have always had a connection with nature, and a healing connection. Before modern pharmaceuticals, we used plants as medicinals. I mean, plants and essential oils and garlic and all types of things. And then going to mountains and springs, especially like Eureka Springs. I did some research when I moved here. It was therapeutic to go to these healing springs. And it was just, maybe it was, you know, just a mindset that we had, that being present at a spring and feeling the water was healing. And so, you know, just going and doing, A lot of it is an increased happiness. It does. There's studies that show just being in nature helps with our mood and our self-esteem. 5 minutes of walking or sitting in a green space lifted your spirits and reduces mental distress. 5 minutes. I think that 5 minutes I can set a time in my day to just be present in nature, and it just changes you. It shows that reducing your blood pressure and reducing those the hormones, cortisol and our adrenaline. I mean, right there, we're reducing our anxiety just by being present in nature. And then obviously our immune system. Forest air releases certain compounds. Terpenes is what they call these. They have molecules. Studies have shown that they help protect us from heart disease. They have antibacterial and antifungal qualities. And I was just reading a study in a book that there are some anti-cancer benefits. It's basically free essential oils, just breathing it in. And I will tell you, each place you go, there are new smells. I recently began hiking out at Durimensi, and there's different smells, different vegetation smells. And you're taking that in your senses, but also just breathing it in and being present there. One of the things that I just wanted to add into this was the National Park RX movement. This began in 2013 as a pilot program that now has, like 7 years later, is thriving to many states. The national park and medical and mental health providers began prescribing nature to improve mental and physical health. They encouraged their patients to spend time in nature, and pharmaceutical company like Kaiser Permanente, sorry, and are also encouraging this because, like, even for our elderly, it can improve cognition, our children, ADHD, depression, anxiety, but also, increasing our stamina, and just time spent helps with our mental and physical well-being. And it was so neat to see these studies that are going on, and that states are like encouraging their citizens to go and be a part of nature. And, even like I was talking about earlier, just with COVID, there's so much isolation and not being within 6 foot distance that I've hiked many times on recent trails where there's no one present. It's just me and nature. And it's just an amazing experience to just be able to just not wear a mask and just be free and present and not worry about like who's next to me or who's there, and listen to the birds, like Shelley's birds. I've started counting the types of birds that I see. There's different birds from Colorado to Missouri, and bluebirds and different things that are available. And then I'm coming back to those 5 senses. Our 5 senses are, one of the things we teach our kids with anxiety is our 5 senses. Like, hey, be present, what you touch. And one of the things that I do on my hikes is I pick up a rock and I accumulate these rocks on all the places I go, and I label them. One, it encourages me to go again. And like one of my hikes was at Durimensi on the 2nd of February, or February 2nd. And it encourages me, but I see them like add up to where I see the strength of being in nature. The smells, the streams, water, pine needles. That's an amazing smell in the fall. Taste, a lot of people like to do edibles, like edible plants. You really need to educate yourself. I haven't got there yet. I will someday. And sounds, birds, woodpeckers, owls, and then the sight, the changing of the seasons too. It is amazing. Part of my job is to travel from place to place. I go from one county to another, and I've watched the seasons change, and I felt present in that. I felt alive. I've stopped at one area and taken pictures over the course of the 9 months that I've worked in that area, and saw the change within that. And just, it was of like a Lake Taneycomo, and just saw the difference every month. And it was like I lived vicariously through that, but I saw the difference and I was present. And each season comes with different plants and different animals, and it just brings you present. I mean, kids love to go for walks, and just being able to say, hey, one of my new passions is, and you'll see a screenshot, is finding 4-leaf clovers. I have become obsessed with just seeing where I can find a 4-leaf clover. And it's now become my new thing, like, oh, wonder if I'll find a clover today. But what can you do outside? Obviously, a lot of people may have issues where they can't hike. They want to walk or just be sitting in nature. You don't have to be exerting a lot of energy and exerting a lot of yourself to just be present. So you can just spend time setting in nature, fishing. If you've not fished yet in a trout stream, I will say that you've truly not had the most rewarding, exhilarating experience ever. Bennett Springs State Park, Roaring River State Park, go there, get some waders, rent them, and wade out into that stream and experience that. It will be a sensory overload. You will leave there refreshed and reinvigorated, and maybe with a trout and something good for dinner, but it is amazing. It really is. It's just one of the experiences. And I was way into my adult life. It wasn't until I was much older that I got to experience that. And I have taken my daughter and she absolutely loves it. And then hiking, for those of you, hiking you don't need expensive gear for. There's people who hike the Appalachian Trail barefoot. So it's just a wonderful cardiovascular workout. It helps with your heart, improves blood pressure, blood sugar levels, and boosts your bone density. And yoga. I have seen some yoga classes that are in the Arkansas area, and I'm going to have to see if we can get one of our rural people to maybe like get us an outdoor yoga class going. But yoga outdoors has to be just truly phenomenal, because just think about that experience of, you know, being out in nature and having that relaxation and mindfulness. Where do you go? So basically every area has a place. I've been to Columbia, has Rockbridge State Park, the Katy Trail. State parks are amazing. Springfield, the Japanese Stroll Garden, the Springfield Nature Center, the Busick State Forest, Branson area. But one of the recent places I took my daughter was Hercules Glades, and it was absolutely just awe-inspiring. And so here it's free. It's not really crowded. I mean, you don't have to worry about a lot of social distancing, but Arkansas has wonderful conservation areas and state parks too. And they have the Buffalo River. And if you've not walked along the bank of that Buffalo River, you are truly missing out, because the geology and the experience, and it is worth the drive down, because we've been back 3 times just to set amongst the bank. So, and outdoors is for all. And that's one thing I want everybody to be mindful for. Everyone, it's free to you. Go and enjoy. And there's some links that I've added for LGBTQ outdoors, diversity and inclusion, and also disability. Just know that it is there for you. It's a resource. It's free. It's, you know, something that everyone can go and participate in. These are some amazing books. I will tell you, I absolutely love. These are on my bookshelf right now. I've had these for years. The Last Child in the Woods is one of my first books. It really, as a mom, especially a mom to a teen who loves social media, Snapchat, TikTok, and Nintendo Switch, just being able to say, let's put down all of those things and let's just go out for a walk. And even she'll go, wow, I really enjoyed this. And a lot of people are intimidated by the word hike, and a hike is just a long walk in nature. That is the definition. So don't be intimidated by just being in nature, but also Rewilding is an amazing book. It has meditations on how to be thankful for what our Mother Earth has given us, you know, what we have got and received from nature. And so with that also, being in nature, once you're going to be in nature and go camping and hiking and just spending time, you're going to fall in love with it. And you're going to want to pay back and pay it forward. And so some of the programs we've participated in is Project Healing Waters, and that's helping our military personnel through fly fishing. And in Colorado, I got to see this take place, and was Casting for Recovery. And this is a healing program for women who have experienced breast cancer. And it was just an awesome opportunity to see physical therapy, and just being in those trout streams helps mentally and physically, and emotional healing. But one thing that it's just a little bitty blurb down there, is Charity Miles. And I can't speak this enough. They actually have engagements for companies on Charity Miles, but Charity Miles is amazing. I will literally, it's easy to track. You download the app. Walking in nature, being in nature. I tracked 1,920 miles for the Wounded Warriors, and it was a donation that Charity Miles made to their project. Also, you can also with that pick one. This year I'm doing Autism Speaks. And then She's First is an amazing one about girls who are graduating high school and first-time high school graduates in their family, and attending college, there are all kinds of different charities out there to be involved in. So when you're out there walking in nature and you're doing it for yourself and you're doing it for your mental, physical, and emotional well-being, you're also making a difference vicariously through someone else's life to make that difference. So it is really neat because it really empowers other people through your love and doing something. So the donations are always neat to see at the end of the year, like, wait, I just like, that was just a walk. And I have two separate apps because I do have dogs that I walk. And I use that app to track, like, oh, wait, my dogs donated this much to, the Wounded Warrior Project. And then my hikes donated this much to Autism Speaks. And so, I just want everybody to know that there are so many resources and so many opportunities to be present in nature. It doesn't have to be complicated. I shared earlier that my first camping trip with my daughter, she was 10, was in a state park by Whiteman Air Force Base. And we woke up about 2 a.m. to 2 deer around our tent. It was just phenomenal. And it was even better because we got to watch the B-2 come across, hey, that's even better at a campsite. But it really has been wonderful for her. We camped 76 days one year, and she learned how to learn ounces by counting fish, and weighing fish, and also, measurements, but also geology, being present, our history. And I kind of attribute to, she's really thriving in the fact that nature is going to be a part of her life no matter what. When she was talking about going places as a college student, she's like, yeah, I've got my own tent and, I can go camp and it empowers people. I was sharing this earlier. One of the resources that I just am passionate about is that a lot of our domestic violence agencies, they fill up. There's not rooms available. There's not space for them. And one of the things is connecting with state parks and companies by providing the resources for these people who are victims of domestic violence to be able to go to a state park and provide for their family. A tent is like a home. It's your home that you have present in your vehicle. A camp stove, being able to just have that protection. And state parks have security. National parks have the park rangers. And so it gives them a sense of freedom and liberty that typically is difficult in those situations, but it gives them a place to retreat to and to have that sense of peace that comes from nature. So there are so many wonderful opportunities in Missouri and Arkansas to be a part of nature. I just recently moved and I live in a subdivision and there's lots of no trees, but I found a patch of trees, which I go and I stand in and I'm amongst and I breathe it in and I know that I'm present, and it just really kind of brings to mind that we have so much right here. All we have to do is just step outside.
Dana Hanson, I was noticing I can't see my own facial reactions right now. So I was noticing at one point in time, like I was so serious, my face felt so serious because I was thinking through all of the opportunities that were coming to mind as you were talking through the healing benefits of nature. One of them being, I had never thought about the opportunities for those in domestic violence situations to find safety in nature and healing that comes along with that. So, oh my goodness, I know we have several comments. The team has been giving me heads up whenever we have comments and questions. I first just want to say your passion and expertise, skill, knowledge, and research of all the healing benefits of nature is just phenomenal. We need to hear from you so much more, all the while respecting your time. It's just amazing to me how I had asked our team earlier, like anyone else noticing a huge energy burst in just hearing and seeing the resources that you provided and hearing the history and science behind the health benefits of nature. So first, I just want to express my gratitude, our gratitude. While I'm sitting here in my backyard in the camper, I'm dreaming of all the ways that I can bring health and wellness to life for my own family, as well as bringing this into the organization that I'm honored to serve alongside of you, Dana. Okay, So everyone's saying like, hey, check out the comments, stop talking, which is not what everyone's saying. That's just what I'm saying. So Janelle mentions, I am checking out the Runge or Runge, I'm not sure how to say that, Runge Center in Jefferson City tonight. Janelle, will you comment back tomorrow or at some point and let us know what you find and how that goes? That's awesome.
It is a beautiful area.
Oh yeah. And Dana, so Dana, what do you do? Is it Runge or Runge?
Runge Nature Center.
Runge Nature Center.
It is beautiful.
She's like resident expert on all the spaces. That's so cool. Sedalia, Bothwell State Park.
Bothwell Lodge State Park has a beautiful little trail that takes you down in there. It's absolutely amazing. There's some old buildings that are historic there. My first job was a site where like I did tours of state parks. And so my first job was at Bothwell Lodge. Before I even graduated high school.
That is so cool. You said earlier that you were not raised with, were you raised in nature? Were you raised camping?
Absolutely not. I went camping once with like a organization when I was probably 8. I was never raised to fish, to camp, to spend time in nature. It literally wasn't until my daughter was 10. The first time I borrowed camping gear from a person, and it was borrowed. We didn't have our own camping gear, and we went to Knob Noster State Park, and we thrived. It was invigorating. It was empowering. We felt like we were able to accomplish something. And I had never experienced a feeling like that. Just to be able to go, I just cooked a meal on a camp stove that's borrowed, that I made I washed dishes with heated water, and I fell asleep in a tent without locking a door, without worrying about security, without worrying about anything. And it was so impactful. It truly changed our lives. And it's what changed the course of where my research went, where I wanted to go with my employment, with my life, and with my kind of how I was going to live, because I saw a difference in myself. I didn't like bugs. I still don't, but I use essential oils. I mean, I went a couple weeks ago hiking and I had 11 tick bites, and I was just like, well, got to switch up the essential oils. But it changed my life because it was freedom. And it was an experience that I had never experienced as a child, as an adult. I mean, it was much later in life that I did it. And then just to take that and want to harness it, to look at the next place, where am I going to go camp again? Where are we going to go see? And to plan her whole vacations around a hike, or walking amongst a field, and to see nature. And my daughter had experienced, she has a chronic medical issue, and her birthday party, she wanted to invite her friends to camp. And it was not more exciting than seeing a bunch of 11-year-olds around a campsite, many of them who've never camped. And they were just like, I mean, every sound, they at first were scared. And then it was like, oh, this is so neat. Listen to the owl, you know? And so being able to give that and to carry on that into the next generation, it stopped with I didn't have that, but it will carry on for her, because it's something on her 16th birthday, instead of a car, she wanted a tent from REI. So, you know,
so cool
for that. Yeah.
I'm becoming more of a fan of your daughter too. So cool.
She is going to work for Burl. She's already claimed it. So
I love it. Let me see here. So there was a question about, actually before, so Crystal in the Springfield area says, when we can't get away for a while, we walk at Nathaniel Green a lot. Springfield has a few really great trails.
Yes, beautiful area. You know, I had to drive in to drop off paperwork at the Burl Center. And of course, it's about an hour drive for me. And I sneaked a little walk around the lake area behind it.
Yeah.
And I was so jealous. I was like, look at this, there's nature. And, you know, you had to ignore the geese for a few minutes, but it was
Maddie says, I would love to just run away to nature for a while. Oh, me too, Maddie.
You know, and it's not a lot of planning. That's what a lot of people think. It's a lot of work to go in nature. And backpacker meals, we make our own backpacker meals. Like we put together freeze dried foods and we seal them because my daughter has food allergies and they're always ready. So like if I just wanted to go today, I could load up a backpack and we could just go hike and just be present and go. So it doesn't take a lot of work to do these things.
Wait. Backpacker meals. Talk to me. What are backpacker meals?
They are dehydrated foods. A lot of companies sell them like Walmart, but we make our own. So we get like the freeze dried beef and chickens and we put it together the way we want it, vacuum seal it. And when we go, like I told earlier, we went to Rabbit Ears where you backpack in and you are away from all civilization and you heat your water, which we had to get from a stream. And we filtered our water and heated it. And we had the most amazing meals out of a packet. And that we think ahead. So, she's like, oh, well, we make this at this time. And that's our process now because we are home with COVID is preparing our backpacker meals. So new recipes, and it just makes a flexibility. You don't have to worry about preparing a lot. So
it's also, so it's investing our energy into something other, thankfully, than COVID planning. So again, as we had chatted through earlier with the team, it's like, it's amazing when we find ways to bring health benefits to life in a way that it doesn't have to be like, oh, I need to make a schedule today. I need to find something to look forward to. When you find those things that you just naturally are invested in, committed to, and they give you, their life-giving, the health benefits just come along with that because you begin planning your trip, you begin researching the spot that you're going, you begin planning your meals, probably connect within family systems about how to work together to make that trip, that adventure come to life. So cool. And I know we have
Missouri,
one more.
Missouri is great at it. And Missouri has the Ozark Trail. There's just so many amazing aspects to being in Missouri and Arkansas, to being able to get out and see what's there. So
we're going to do this again, right? We're going to do this again?
Absolutely. Yes. From
Yeah,
our campsite that time. Part of my, when I graduated from jury, I did my entire finals week in a campsite. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Like all
I
my
bet you rocked
from a campsite. Yeah. And I taught a community college all from a campsite, from different campsites. And it was amazing because, I'd finished doing my lectures and then I'll just go down to the stream today.
That's so cool. And as you had said earlier, like it helps you to be a better, committed, invested, successful employee.
I feel like I was honest with everybody. My daughter has an immunodeficiency. So for a few months, we didn't leave the house. And then I just had a connection. I always keep rocks from my hikes on my desk. And I looked down, I was like, there's no reason I can't go for a hike. And as soon as I went back into nature, my productivity, my mental stamina, my performance as an employee improved, but my being as a mother improved. It wasn't fear that driven me. It wasn't worries. It was the fluidity of I am able to now go back into nature. I'm able to be a part of society in a sense and be present. But I took that back and I took all the relaxation of it, the peace that I got. The first time I went, I found a 4-leaf clover and I was like, okay, this is like, thank you world for giving me this. Thank you nature. Thank you earth. But giving that back and taking that back to my employment. And I literally did an evaluation later on and somebody was like, oh yeah, we're just stuck in the house. And I was like, wait, do you know about this area? Do you know about these things? And just being able to take and go into nature, even if just to sit by the stream.
I think this is a great point to tie in Maddie's comment. I remember begging my parents to let us go camping as a kid. So they handed me a tent and said, go to the backyard. And I did. It took 3 hours to figure out how to put up the tent. But I did it and felt so good about it.
Yes.
And then Jeff says he's headed to the river for a picnic tonight. Nature heals. Jeff, you're in the Columbia area. Where do you, if you're still listening, drop in there where you go. We're trying to gather all of our resources in all of our regions. Dana, I'm noticing the time, and I know that we've used enough of your time today, and I want to just be mindful of that. Again, I just want to say, first, I hope we get to do this again. This is Absolutely. So healing. So healing.
And I just want to encourage everybody just to step outside. I mean, I know it, we're all going through struggles. We're in COVID brain, everything, but just take a moment, and it doesn't have to be a big planning process. Jeff's lucky. He's got the Katy Trail over there. That's just gorgeous, the bluffs. But just finding an area, I just recently moved to a different part of Branson, and Stephanie shared an area that's near me that I'm going to go check out tonight. I need it. We all need, just, even if it's 5 minutes, you can see that 5 minutes just helps that. And it increases your self-esteem. I mean, just going and being. So I encourage everybody, just experience it and download the app and pay it forward.
Yes, we're gonna do it. Is that a free app? I think there was a question about that.
It is absolutely free. Charity Miles is. Yeah, I've had it for several years, and it's it's so neat. So I experience nature. If you're new, rent some kayaks. Try it.
Yes. Okay, so we will do our best. We'll have the daily communication that we share out on social media. I think I owe you all yesterday's as well. We'll put the resources in and try to highlight as many of the resources that Dana mentioned today so we can all enjoy the benefits of nature. We will have Dana back here again. I'm certain of it. Jeff says here there's a town called Cedar Creek. We are loving it. We have so many places here, taking advantage of all of them in the Columbia region. Thank you, Jeff. We might have you go on location and we'll film you, Jeff Devers. I'd love that.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Would that be fun?
Yes.
Okay, seriously, we need to go. I know we all need to go. Let's all go to nature. How about that? That'll be amazing. And we say, let's see, today's Thursday. I've lost track of time because of the healing properties of nature. Tomorrow is Fun Friday. Then we have the weekend. And then on Monday, we have Dr. Paul Baker, who founded the Person Brain Model, who will be with us. It's a neurotransformational model that really digs into the brain science and helps us apply that within our relationships. So again, if you are interested in just building healthier relationships, better understanding of human beings and behavior, you don't want to miss Dr. Paul Baker on Monday. So we'll get the information out about him being with us on Monday in our Be Well community.
His Hopeful Brain book is amazing.
Right there. See, Dana, we'll probably get to be in community with Dana again on Monday too. So, okay, we wish you well. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you back tomorrow. Be well, everyone.